My name is Brad Biley. I'm from the Haley Marketing Group up in Buffalo, New York. It's a pleasure being out here. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please stop me and let me know. I'd rather get them out of the way while it's happening, while we're thinking about it, and stay on topic. I have 11 topics that I want to discuss, and ultimately I want to talk about how to turn your website into a staffing ATM. How we can start to make more educated decisions with our websites to actually see true business results. So how can you make your website work for you? Just by a show of hands, anybody that has a website for their company, which I assume you all do, can you tie true business results to your website, yes or no? Show of hands be yes. So you cannot. Maybe? Maybe. Okay. So that's an issue. And what we want to see is that as we have a website, it starts to work for us, not against us. We want it to be used as a tool, not something just that we have because our competitors or we were told that we have to have one. We want to have a website that actually drives true business results. So I'm going to talk about 11 must-haves for every staffing website. I'm not saying go out and put all 11 of these on your website right away, but I think it's something that you can start to think about. Start to incorporate maybe a little bit at a time, and then as you start to grow, you'll start to think of other ideas and other ways to expand your website. First and foremost, you have to have an incredible user experience. When somebody comes to your website, they should absolutely love the fact that they're on your site more than any other site that they've been to, especially as a staffing firm. We think about all the competitors and how we can differentiate ourselves. Having a website that's easy to navigate, easy for a candidate to get to an available job, easy for somebody to get a hold of you, get in contact with you. User experience is everything. And user experience comes down to more than just the content and the jobs that are on your site. It comes down to how fast the site loads. It comes down to the overall display of the site. When you open up your website on a mobile device, do you have to pinch and zoom so that you can get to different areas of the site? Or does the whole site render on one screen? That's important because as you start to turn off different candidates, they're making a decision about you before they even know who you are. And we want to put our best foot forward. Second tip is it's absolutely essential to have a mobile responsive design. If we look at data from June compared to August of this year, I asked our tech team to pull a little bit of data for us. 28% of all data from websites hosted by Haley Marketing Group, it's about 1,000 sites, it's about 28% of that traffic came from a mobile device. In August of this year, 37% of traffic came from a mobile device, over 6 million page views. So if you have a website where you're loading up content on an iPhone and you have to kind of do that pinch and zoom where you read one half of the screen, zoom it back out, zoom back into the other half of the screen, you're losing a lot of candidates and you're losing their interest, again, before they even get the chance to know you and pick up the phone and learn who you are. So mobile is essential. And you'll see a couple options here, and I'll use the pointer. In the top left, you have a real easy apply now, right when you get to the home page on the mobile device. In the middle, you have a very nice split between job seekers and clients. So if you're looking for jobs, you immediately have one button to click. If you're looking for talent, on the other hand, you have another button to click. And it takes you to two separate pages of the site, but it's routed very strategically. The one in the upper corner there is more geared towards job seekers. So you have faster talent, faster hires, you click that, and you can also apply a job seeker there. The third tip, a well-developed conversion funnel. And what I mean by that, kind of want to refer it back to a grocery store. When you walk through the front door of a supermarket, there's a ton of product everywhere. You have a ton of purchasing decisions that you can make, but the grocery store's layout guides you to the items that they want you to buy. So before you know that you want the new Oreos that are on display just for fall, they guide you to them, whether it's through the end cap, whether it's through signage, whether it's just through designing that aisle so that you have to go past the Oreos to get to your milk. It's all strategic, and your website should be the exact same. So when a candidate comes to your site, we want to guide them to either the search jobs page, we want to guide them to the content page, we want to guide them to a conversion page so that we can capture who they are. Because at a high level, they're just a number until they actually give us their information and become a user on that website. We want to turn them from a page view to actually somebody that we can get a hold of and contact. So thinking about that funnel and thinking about, okay, if somebody reads a piece of blog content or somebody reads an ebook, what do we want them to do next? Think about the end goal. If contact submissions are the main goal, Let's work backwards. How can we get people to that? And think about that funnel. You got it, I swear. The next tip, Google Analytics. So I asked earlier who has a company website and who sees true business results from it. Who that has a site has Google Analytics installed on that site? A couple, so 3. Maybe a couple others aren't sure. But of those 3 that have analytics on your site, can you read the data and can you analyze it significantly well? Do you know what it means?
Moderately well.
Moderately well. Google Analytics is one of the biggest tools that you can have on your site. It tells you exactly what pages are being looked at, exactly how long people are staying on those pages, how they're getting to those pages, where they're going afterwards. We can understand the user significantly well. This is a report that I put together for Haley Marketing Group. I sit on our marketing team and I actually run our social media efforts. So every now and again when we get together as a team, I have to report back as to what my social media efforts are doing and what that's resulting in from a business standpoint. So when we sit down, I use analytics to look at, okay, how much traffic came from LinkedIn this month? How much traffic came from Facebook, Twitter? How much came from the email marketing that we're doing if I want to sprinkle that in too? But more importantly, we want to look at contact form submissions on the other side here. We want to look at how many people figured out a lead generation form, or how many people got to get an estimate and gave us their information. Tie that all back to how the user got there. Now we know what initiatives are working, and more importantly, what initiatives are not working. I'm extremely data driven, and I almost like to see what efforts aren't working more than which ones are, because it tells me what I have to work on. If I come in here and I say, okay, we had a ton of LinkedIn traffic, that's awesome, but Facebook is super low, I know I have to go back to the drawing board, and it gives me a challenge. Any questions so far? Your website 100% has to represent who you are as a company. We just redesigned HaleyMarketing.com, and when you get to our website, this is the first picture you see. There's a team of 45 people that I work with, that I love working with, and it's the first image you see because that's who we are. We're kind of a quirky, outgoing group of people. We all hang out together outside of work. Somebody mentioned earlier going to happy hours and things like that. We do that on basically a weekly basis. We play volleyball together on a team. We actually have 2 teams going now. We do different community outreach. We want people that come to our site to know that. I often say that people don't do business with businesses, they do business with people. If you can get to know who we are before you even pick up the phone and call us, I believe that's a big win right there. So not only do we have the image on our homepage of who we are, but we also have what's called a team bio, and this is my example. So when you're on a desktop version of our site, it has a hover over effect. So as you're scrolling with your mouse, and you hover over my normal picture on the one side, the hover over is me playing the guitar, because that's what I do outside of work. I play around Buffalo every now and again. But everybody has something different that they specialize in. So Mark, one of our creative designers, it's a picture of him playing soccer. Everybody has something specific, whether it's that they're into cars or into hockey. It shows our personality so that when you get on the phone, you're not just talking to Brad, the marketing guru, or whatever adjective you want to use there, but you're talking to Brad and you get to know me a little bit more. And I think that's important. We also have true and false questions at the bottom of our team bios. So every time you come to our page, there's 3 questions. I am not fluent in Spanish, French, and Italian, so that would have been false on that report. There's one more about getting to know your team. I think a team bios page is very important, and that's kind of what you saw in the last slide. But this is a page dedicated to 100% who works at Haley Marketing Group. So there's some fun pictures on here. You can see, again, our team's kind of quirky. We're kind of out there, but we like to have fun, and we like each other. So we do that, and we showcase that. Here's Chris's birthday. We put a picture of that on there. All these pictures also get shared on social media. So not only are they on our site, but we're also showcasing all our followers, our connections, who we are, so that people can get to know who Haley Marketing is. We also won, something that I want to mention over here in the corner, we won Best Places to Work in Western New York. We were one of the companies that was honored with that award. So we all dressed up as characters from, I believe, Saturday Night Live. And then we went to Wayne's World there in the middle, yeah. Yeah, but it's just another way for us to showcase our team. One thing that I didn't mention is we also have personal team testimonials that slide throughout that entire page. So here's one from Brad Smith. It says, "We actually care about each other. It's a nice, tight-knit group that focuses on success, treating each other with respect, and all growing together." So we're showcasing who our team is, so that, again, you can get to know us and start to trust us. The next tip, have to have attractive job opportunities built right onto your site. So regardless of what ATS you use, it's important that those route back to a page on your website. So this is an example of a job board solution that we offer without really plugging that away, but just talking more importantly about why you need to have site or jobs on your webpage. They're great not only because candidates that come to your site now have a next path in that funnel, so we can guide them to available opportunities, but we also keep all those opportunities on our site. So we're not driving them somewhere else where they can get lost in the clutter. We're keeping them right on our domain, and that's exactly what you should do as well. So if you have these available positions, in the example here I click on machine operator, it bounces out. Not only do you see all the description, the information, the hours, the pay, but you also get to know about Terry Robinson, and I think that's important as well. Not only does the candidate get to learn about the actual position, but they get to learn about the recruiter that they would then be working with. So they get to learn a little bit about Terry, become a little bit more comfortable with her, and it also has her social media buttons under there too. So maybe they want to fill out and apply online up at the top, or they want to apply later and get a reminder in a little bit. They can also reach out to Terry on Twitter, or they can send her a Facebook message. So it's a real nice way to bring that all together. Jobs on your site are also great for search engine optimization. It adds real nice relative keywords, relevant keywords. Adds real nice page density to your site. The more pages on your site, the better. Google likes to see relevant pages and continued growth of pages on your site. So as you're adding new jobs, that's a great opportunity as well. Brings us to search engine optimization. I did a Google search back in Buffalo for employment agencies in Denver, Colorado. And on this side of the screen, my right, you'll see the Google map, which is going to be agencies that have set up through Google Plus that are showing up on the map. Then you'll see their listings under it, and then you get into the organic search results. We can influence organic search results by search engine optimizing our web pages on our site. So by sprinkling keywords like top Denver staffing firms, top Denver staffing agencies in Denver, into our headings on our site, into the page titles of our site, into the web copy of our site, we start to influence what Google starts to show. And that's a good thing. Sure, you can post great content on Facebook, you can send out a great newsletter, and you can even put in some paid search behind it. But with organic search and influencing that copy, people that are just looking for employment firms in Denver can start to find you as well. It's a very critical part to the website copy in that process. My next point, great content. When it comes to content marketing, I'm a big proponent of fresh content, unique content, and a wide variety of it. I have a hard time running different social media programs just posting job after job for clients. I try not to do that ever. Instead, we want to hook them with really good content and then push them towards a job opportunity through a call to action or through that funnel that we talked about. So what constitutes great content? It's very easy to set up a blog on your site. I recommend getting into a blogging routine where maybe you start to post every other week and task that around your office. And then you can get to the point where you're posting every week, maybe twice a week. Everybody within your office is knowledgeable on very specific topics. Let them showcase that. Let them be a resource to the candidates and clients that come to your page and show them that content. What I love to do, I write for Haley Marketing probably every other week. What I love to do is write blog content around questions that I'm getting a lot of. So if I have a bunch of clients emailing me saying, hey, we heard about this new Facebook update, what does it mean? I'll blog about it, and then the next time I get the question, I send them the link to the blog article. Now I have them on our site where we can work them through our funnel. We can start to capture them as a lead, even though they're already a current client. We can capture them as a lead coming in for maybe something else, another service. But more importantly, we're getting more traffic to our site. We're building that awareness for the content. Other content could include a candidate resource center. Maybe it's a client resource center. Ebooks, white papers, video. Video is king. If you can put together a video of top jobs, top resources, maybe take a blog article and then you have somebody read that article or just showcase the top 5 points in a video. Put that on your website. I mentioned ebooks, but having good, great content is not only the fuel for a social media strategy, but you could also use it for an email marketing strategy. You can start to distribute that out to different channels. Use that to hook people And then, like I said, leverage your funnels and how you're building your site to get them to take an action. Comes to my next topic, it's calls to action. On a website, by nature, people are going to come, read your content, and want to leave. They got their answer, they got what they were looking for. There's really no more purpose for that one page, unless we hook them with the next step. So a lot of times, you'll find that content might not have a strong enough CTA, so we're not driving people to the right page. We need to change that. So what we like to do at Haley is create different visual call to action buttons. I'm also a really big fan of fly-ins and pop-ups, things that are coming from the bottom or the sides. It's a little bit more intrusive than just a button at the bottom of a blog post, but I think it flies low enough where it's not overly intrusive. It's not like Forbes does it, where you go to look at a blog post and you get their ad for 5 seconds. It's a real direct CTA, looking for a job, sign up here, you click, and it signs you up for job notifications. The bottom of this one, it's a top pediatric example. You get through the blog post, it says, looking for additional support, contact us today. Very direct, tells them exactly what we want them to do. They click that button. What's also great, and a little bit of a side note, but through Google Analytics, we can track all these clicks. We can set up what's called UTM tracking. And in analytics, what can then happen is I can tell our boss, my boss rather, or you can report to whoever you need to give this data to, and say, listen, through the month of September, 15 people clicked on this fly-in. In the month of August, though, 60 clicked it. Maybe it's getting old. Maybe people are already understanding that that's there. We should change it up. It gives you good, concrete data and lets you make educated decisions moving forward. The next point, lead generation forms. I'm a big proponent of having a contact form and a lead generation form directly on the website. Something that is extremely easy to fill out, something that maybe has 3 to 5 fields, if that. Want to keep it as short as possible. It's an example from Rolling, actually. We are currently working on their new site. I don't know if anybody's in here from Rolling, but this is a look at their new contact form. And you'll see that there are 6 different fields, but only 3 are required. Name, phone number, email. That gets sent to their team. They can then reach out and give more information. We don't need everybody's information and all of their details right to start. We can get a good quality lead and then let the sales team follow up afterwards and let the recruiters follow up afterwards. But what we want to do is make it very easy. I like short forms because you'll know that people are using the smartphones more. There's actually a stat that I was going to say about mobile responsive, but a report from Nielsen showed that 91% of adults have their iPhone and smartphone within arm's reach 24 hours a day. So the more people are using smartphones, mobile devices, the more we want to continue to create our website to field that platform. So a long form with a lot of options, asking for resumes, asking for items that somebody might not have if they're on the bus or if they're in a cab. Make it easy, make it efficient, let them give you their information, and then we can follow up afterwards and get more from them. My next point, social proof. To me, social proof is a way to basically, pressing that, I swear. It's a way to basically prove to your audience that you're somebody. So on our site, and this is a couple Haley marketing examples, we have a button in our sidebar that shows you how many followers we have on every platform. It's numbers that we're proud of, so we like to showcase them. If you have a good audience, it builds a little bit of authority to people that come to your site and don't know who you are. So we put those numbers on there, and that updates in real time, so as we get more followers, that's going to update. But what we want to do is show people that, hey, we're active, we're listening. If you reach out to us, we're going to respond back. And it also, like I said, builds a little bit of authority there on those platforms. We also, in the footer of every page, have connect with us buttons, so that if people are active on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever their attention is, we're there too. One of the biggest things with social media and the way that starts to shift, and to go on a little bit of a tangent, is you're constantly fighting for people's attention. Regardless of social media, email, phone calls, you're fighting for attention. You can't just run a Facebook page if your audience is on Twitter. You need to go where their attention is and actively engage with them. So by us building out and constantly updating our pages and engaging with our audience, we're doing so where they're active and engaging and where they're listening. The last form of social proof that we have is at the bottom of every piece of content, we have what we call share icons. Very easy to turn on if you have WordPress. There's different platforms that you can install with that. But similar to how you build authority with your follower count on the side, this builds authority for the blog article itself. So this article that I shared, that I took a screenshot of, was shared on LinkedIn 220 times. We shared on Facebook 15. Twitter actually doesn't track their counter anymore, so we can't see that one. But what's good for us to see is that as it gets shared more, it's a sign for us as we're evaluating what content is resonating well with our audience. But it's also a good sign for somebody that hasn't heard of who we are before, hasn't heard of Haley Marketing Group. They see that this article, other people are talking about it, and that builds their trust, helps them trust us more, and helps us move in the right direction. Those are my 11 tips and what I consider my 11 must-haves for all staffing websites. Again, I don't think you need to roll them all out all at once. I think this is something that can be rolled out periodically. Maybe you take one at a time and just roll slowly with it. But I did want to open up for questions, and I wanted to save time for that. So if you have questions about your own website, maybe something that I mentioned, feel free to ask now. I also have my contact information out there if you'd rather reach out privately. But I'm definitely available to answer anything that you might have.